The topic I chose for my information speech is where does our food come from? I chose this topic because growing up I lived on a small farm and I was part of FFA and 4-H growing up as well. So when I was younger, my favorite time of the year happened to be harvest time. It was one of the most exciting parts of the year for me. We'd wake up early, get our lunches packed for the day, and have all the excitement of the day ahead of us. And between combines, tractors, and trucks and trailers, there was always plenty to see and do. My favorite part was being in the combine and watching the header just turning and harvesting the crop, and knowing that it's taken a lot of work to get that far. Knowing that the harvest had the capability to feed so many people was really amazing in my opinion. From that time as a young child, I learned where food had come from and just how important it is to know where you're getting it. So today I'm going to discuss the process of how we grow wheat and the process that our products go through from harvest to shelf and the importance of soil. If you ask a child where their food comes from, you'll probably get a simple answer like our grocery store or the fast food restaurant down the street. But it's actually much more complicated than that. If you take a look behind the scenes, you're going to see it takes a lot of work from stage 1 of planting all the way up to the final stage, which would be your meal. And the foods that you eat and see at the grocery store start off with much more than some people realize, and that's what they start off with, usually are hardworking farmers. However, there are many misconceptions that all of our food is coming from these big factory farms, but actually the majority of foods are being produced by small, hometown, hardworking farmers. For example, as you probably already know, Kansas is popular for wheat. September is planting time for wheat in Kansas. A drill pulled by a tractor is used to make furrows and plant the seeds. Winter wheat grows some during the fall, but it's usually dormant throughout the winter. And even though that the plants are dormant, plants still have to be monitored all throughout the planting process. Lots of work must be done to make sure the plants are on track, and there has to be proper growing conditions for those plants to thrive. However, the big job begins with harvest and thereafter. The wheat harvest in Kansas can begin anywhere from June, and it can end anywhere in early July. Wheat is usually harvested using a combine, and the header pushes the heads of the wheat plant into a sickle. That sickle cuts the heads off the plants and pulls them into the combine, where it removes the seeds out of the heads and separates the wheat seeds from all their plant materials. After that, the wheat seeds are then proceeded to be moved into a grain bin on the combine. And all that extra plant material is going to be blown out of the back of the combine, while all the rest is stored in the bin on the combine. And after they take it off the bin from the combine, they will put it in large trucks for transportation to either a local co-op or into a larger grain bin on the farm. And after the harvest, the wheat is going, after that it'll go to a mill where it's crushed, and then we use it in the products that you see every day, like on your local grocery store shelves, such as bread, or sometimes even you'll find it in simple products like this, and actually lots of locally grown stuff, or even stuff around the country from smaller farms, can end up in a thing of potato chips or elsewise. Just depends. There's lots of different stuff in our different products that are grown by farmers, and you might not even realize it. And harvest might be finished for a while, but it's all going to start up again in a couple months. Most crops that are grown by farmers go through some real processes as harvesting wheat does. For instance, there's corn and soybeans and so many more different types of plants. And then there's those crops that are grown by farmers also have to be monitored all the time, constantly. The majority of products that we see in our stores today have something from a farmer in them. Farmers are what make our world generally go round. Without their hard work, people would go hungry and suffer. One American farmer feeds 184 people or more. And all of these products that are being found in grocery stores and local areas, local markets, they can start in a field, or if it's an animal, they can start in a barn or a tree, but they all have one thing in common. And that one thing that they have in common is that they all start with soil. You can't grow crops or trees without soil, and you can't feed your animals without the grass and feed that grows in the soil. All the foods on our shelves and our plates when we eat a meal or a snack all have some aspect with local farmers or dealing with soil where they all start. The products we consume may go through different processes in between harvest and the actual consumption of the product, like going through factories and combining with other foods that also started with the same beginnings. But it's always going to be those humble beginnings that keep us going through our complicated lives. From the soil under our feet all the way to the spoon in our hands, you have to always start somewhere.